but it's not in writing. That is something that I've heard more than once, and it brings up the subject which really is near and dear to me, which is integrity. And how do you have integrity? How do you not have integrity? One of the things I've had a lot of discussions with, or when people are building their dream team, they say that they offered equity to a member that later became a dream team member, but then they found somebody else. And often it goes something like, well, I offered him 10% equity, but then I found this great guy, and I don't know, I told him that, but I never put it in writing. So does that matter, and can I do something about that? And I always say the same answer to that. You can do anything you want to do, but in this business of QLA and acquiring businesses, you're going to trade on your word, and that is incredibly important. Can people trust you? I remember Dan recently did a video in one of the seminar clips, and he talked about the handshake deals and how they don't work. But he also made a point of saying that he could only remember one handshake deal in recent history, although it's not so recent, which was with me, and it's been 26 plus years. I trust him. He trusts me. We've never done anything to breach that trust. And that's really important to me. But remember, you're going to trade on your word. And what you don't want is you don't want the situation where you give equity verbally, you say it's not in writing, you change your mind. Somebody asked me, well, could I form another corporation and do the deals in that? You can do all those things. But what will happen is that your reputation will turn out to be, boy, you better get that in writing. Because if you don't get it in writing, this is what happened to me. The other thing is that if you're really going after big hitters, most of the time, those people have a long career, they have built a reputation, and even more important than the money to them is maintaining and, if possible, enhancing their reputation. And so you will lose Dream Team members, and you will have a lot of problems if you end up compromising their reputation. So I think it's important to remember how critical that is. In my mind, integrity is one of the few things worth dying for, and I really believe that. I say, how do you test your equity or your integrity? Well, there's a couple ways that you can do that. One is, depending upon your relationship with your mother or what it was, imagine that your mother is sitting on your shoulder, and what would she say with respect to what you're doing? That's one way to do it. The other common comment is, integrity is what you do when nobody's watching. I think that's true also. And I would add one that I saw, which is integrity is what you do, and it proves itself when you can't, or at least you think you can't, afford to have integrity. I remember when we were in the days of IBM and we were a struggling company, basically out of money, when we were in the property tax business and IBM was a client. You went through a process of challenging their taxes, and in that process, oftentimes the first step was you'd go to a grievance board. Frequently, you got turned down. Then you had to file a lawsuit. We needed money in the worst way. We basically didn't have any money. We were a brand new company. And I remember sitting with my partner, and we thought that they needed to go to the next step and file a lawsuit. My partner was an attorney, but IBM had tons of attorneys, and everybody told us they're never going to have a single practitioner do that for them. So we went to IBM. We said that we obviously had lost at the grievance level, but please take this forward. You have a great case. You're being overcharged, and whether we do it through an attorney, which was my partner, or whether you do it through one of your attorneys, just please make sure you do it. And in fact, what we'll do is we'll put together the papers for their review if you choose to use somebody else. Those were hard words to come out of our mouth because this was a several $100,000 fee. But we said that, and they said, you've carried us this far. We have faith in you, so you go ahead and do it. And ultimately that worked out, and kind of the rest is history for that. So I would just think about all the things that you do, the way you conduct business. Think about whether you would do what you were thinking about doing if your mother was standing next to you and you had to explain it to her. That's really important because a reputation takes a long time to build. It takes an instant to destroy it. And I'd encourage you to remember that. As I said a few minutes ago, it's one of the few things I think is worth dying for. It's that important. Okay, so if you have any questions or comments or ideas for future episodes, please email bruce@brucewhipple.com. And if you're not already on our mailing list, head over to brucewhipple.com and sign up and grab any of the free reports. That'll put you on the mailing list. There is a lot of free information you can use to acquire already profitable businesses. This is Bruce Whipple. Thanks for listening to the Business Acquisition Podcast. And remember, you miss 100% of the opportunities you fail to take. And procrastination truly is the thief of time. So do something today, please. Your future self will be proud of you.